Okay. So I think I have already opened this. Right. So online students, can they see, just can you see this, right? Online students, you can see the screen as well, right? Bound, keep an eye if they have a problem. Okay, let's start the class. This is actually the week 4 of the semester. In this class, we'll continue with lists and dictionaries. Okay, so we'll go more about it. And if you don't understand, please let me know. So these are some of the important modules that we'll be covering. So I can skip that slides. What we'll be covering will be covered in this week. It will come to you slowly. So we'll be working with, as you can see, we'll be working with lists, we'll be working with dictionaries, we'll be working with tuples, and we'll be working with functions and parameters. So we're slowly going to the advanced stage of Python programming and complex coding as well. Okay. Now, I can see, I already give you a bit of understanding actually what a list is. List allows you to hold multiple data, okay? And you can use indexing to index or to access each and every individual data of the list. That is, that you already know. You can do operations, you can do slicing, you can do sorting, you can do a lot of things. Even you can add data to the list, empty list if you want to, okay? And in that way, you can use that manipulate the list for your operations. And lists support multiple data types. It can work with your integer number, it can work with your floating number, as well as it can work with string, right? Remember? And in a list, you can have all those things together as well. Then I also mentioned about the dictionary as well. This is another thing, which is another sort of data type or data storage type, where actually the dictionary stores the data in a pair, which is called key and value. So key is actually the key of the dictionary, and the value is actually the value of that particular key, which I'll show you in the coming slides. So this week we'll be working with lists, dictionaries, as well as some functions that we should be looking into. Now, you already know that these are actually lists. So list starts from 0 to length minus 1, which is n minus 1. So if I say 5, then it starts from 0 to 4, right? So the indexing starts, the first position of the list starts from 0 and it ends to n minus 1. Couple of examples of lists. As you can see, we have apples, oranges, and cherries. These are called strings. Okay. We can also have something like this, numbers. Okay, like integer number. These are also a list. Okay. Then let me just give you a small example to think about it, how it works. First of all, think about this one. The first is equal to the list, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. So that means I have created a list with 4 values, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Second is another list that I'm defining. So I'm using the function called list. So list is actually a function that allows you to create a list, and it is from range 1 to 5. That means it will start from range 1 till 4. Then after that, when I say first, it will print all the values of 1, 2, 3, 4. And when I say second, it will print the values of 1, 2, 3, 4 as well. So from here I can understand that you can create a list with multiple data, which you have already done, right? One way that you can do is that you can manually create a list by saying the name of the list, suppose first, and then we create a square bracket like this, and we put all the values in between the list, whatever you want. Okay, so that we can do. Now this is one way of manual creation of the list. Or on the other hand, what you can do, you can just say list. So this is actually a function that is used to build a list, and then you can use something called range 1 to 5, for example, or range 1 to 10. So what it will do, it will take all the numbers from 1 till 10 minus 1, and it will create a list for all the numbers for you, right? So this is another way. So this is actually another important function that you can use for creating a list. Now, what actually this one is, this is something that I will also show you in the coming slides. I just wanted to put you over here because I wanted to show that there is functions that you can also use. For example, we got a variable called x, which is equal to 2. Then I'm saying x, then math dot square root x. Now, this x will print the value of 2, which is fine. Now, what actually math and dot square root means? So if you remember, last time we did something like random dot randint, random. So math is actually something like that. This is called an object. or a library, okay, that contains all the list of functions or methods. So I'm saying math is my object. In that object, I'm going to use a method called square root, SQRT, square root of x. So that means what it is doing, it is importing the object or the library math, and in that library, the function that it is using called square root, and that square root is used to take the square root of the value of x, and which is 1.41421, something like that. You understood math dot square root 1? Okay. So this is one of the important way to do it as well. Okay. So you can, so you already know this particular creating the list. You also understood about this, how to use a math function to get the square root of that. We'll know more about it in the coming slides. Let's continue further. Any confusion, guys? You understood so far? Is it clear? Yes. Clear? How about you guys? Clear? I'm just revising the same thing that we have done in the last week as well. Okay? Bhavan. Okay, so I'm just revising the same thing again and again. Okay, so it is not that we are actually doing, so I'm revising the same thing. Please, if you don't understand, let me know. Then I also said, okay, for example, I have created over here the first, which is the list 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now I'm saying length of the first. This length, remember last time we have understood length is actually the function that tells me the length of any variable that you want to find. So this is actually a list, and the length of this actually 1, 2, 3, and 4. The answer is 4. Clear, guys? We have done that. We also did something like that. I want to do a slicing. So my list is first, and the slicing is from 2 to 4. I know that this is 0, 1, 2, 3, and then 4. There's no 4 actually. So it will come to from 2 to 4 minus 1. There are two values, 2 and 3, right? So this is 2, which is 3, and this 4 is, which is, this 3 is, which is 4. So this, as you can see, it is called 2 to 4 means what? 2 to 4 minus 1. There are two values, 2 and 3. So this is 2 and this is 3 for me. Okay. So in that way, I have done the slicing as well. Clear, guys? Understood? You have done the slicing already before. You know actually how to do the slicing. You know forward slicing. You know backward slicing as well, with positive, with negative, whatever slicing you have done. But keeping in mind, whenever I say something 2 to 4, it is not that it will go till 4. It will go always 4 minus 1. Or if you see 4 minus 2 is 2. So 2 and 3. So there are two values that are there. We also can do some concatenations. That means we can add more value to the list. Suppose I have already value called first, which is actually my list, and I want to add some more values to the list. So what I'm saying, 5 and 6, it is giving 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now keeping in mind, you could, I mean, if you would have said first plus 6, the answer would have been different, because it is not actually how. Because when you add a list, you should add list to a list, right? So when I'm adding, when I'm calculating the list to a list. So I'm saying 5 and 6, so it's giving 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So it is adding up all the lists together. Then I can say first equal to, I mean, this is okay for the time being, just leave it, because there's nothing called second over here. Okay. So we can say first equal to second means that I'm checking whether the value of all the first and the second is equal or not. It is not true, because first is actually already 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and second is 1, 2, 3, 4. But anyway, that is something it's not required. What I am saying from here, that we have created a list as first, we have put 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then after that, we have completed that list with plus 5 and 6 also. We have done the slicing of the list from 2 to 4 as well, and this is a pretty much of revision that we are continuing from the previous week. Let's continue further. Something like this. Print. These are actually some practices. That's why I put all these things always, because just to brush up your revision, so that you know exactly what you're doing. Even if you've done practices at home, at least you can see these things, and then after that, okay, you can remember that what we have done. Print 1, 2, 3, 4. It is just printing the value, because they're in the double quoted comma. And when I say print a list 1, 2, 3, 4, it will print the list actually as 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. Remember that there's a function called in. What in does, it checks the value of the source in the destination. So is 0 present in this value? No, that's why it is called false, right? So 0 in 1, 2, 3, no, it is not there. So the output is false. How I'm going to use this type of thing, when I will show you the PDF code, you'll understand. But you are now, for the time being, you understand in is actually there to check the value of the source in the destination. Okay, and this type of list we have created, concatenations we have done, all these things there as a part of my list manipulations. Now let's continue further. So if you see that in an overall, what we have done in an overall, actually, you can see that in a list L, we can use any index to do the indexing. So that's why integer expression. We can put anything from slicing from start to end. We can concatenate list plus list. We can print the list. We can get the length of the list. We can create a list with a list function using range number. We can compare the value of the list with all these comparison operators. Okay, we can create a loop in the list to find out what we can extract each and every value from the list into the variable, and we can play with that one. We can check the value of all those things in the list as well. So if you have practiced the previous 3 weeks, all of this thing has been done already before as well. So these are just some of the syntax, a general syntax that is there to just to give you a summary of what sort of operations that we can do using a list. So just to conclude that thing, we can use a list with an indexing number. So that will give me the index, like suppose L0, it will tell me the first position of the list. It can give me the slicing. It can concatenate. So it can add two lists together. It can print the value. It can take the length of the list. It can create a list by using a list function, by putting a range as well. You can use different operators to check the value of the list as well. You can use a loop. Remember last time we used a list and we take one value at a time from the list and put it into the loop. So you can use you can put the whole list into a loop, and then you can extract one value at a time from the list, and you can do the operation on that values. You can also check for any value in the list as well. So these are very, very effective operations that we use when we work with list. Clear, guys? Yes. Understood this guy? Okay, how about you? Clear? Yes, how about you on this? Online students? Good. See what is happening with online students, please? Okay. Now, let's continue further. Just a bit of more revision because we have two parts this time. We know that a list is mutable. Mutable means in a sense that it can be inserted, removed, replaced. You can do a lot of operations on the list easily. For example, I said example equals to list 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've created a list, and then I just print the value of the list. Then I'm saying go to the index position of 3 of the list and change it to 0. So this is 0, 1, 2, and 3. So this position will be what now? It will be 0. Then when I'm saying example, the output is 1, 2, 3, and 0. That means I can replace the value of a list with a new value if I know the index position of that particular list. Okay, that is there. Okay. Now let's go to a PDF code for some sort of revision what we have done with the list bit. Let's see what is there in the PDF code. Okay, so there are a couple of ones we can see. Right, let's start with this one. This is some of the PDF code that you'll be practicing. Anyway, all the codes are there with the PY file. You can download those ones and you can practice that one as well. Okay. See this one. I've created a string variable called sentence, and this string has got 5 words, which is called, this example has 5 words. So this is actually a string. What I have done, I'm going to split that sentence. So you know that, remember that in the last week I showed you a string dot method. A string is an object, and dot method. You can do split. You can look for substring. You can convert from to uppercase to lowercase to uppercase. Number of functions that you can do. So what I'm doing, I'm just taking the string as my the string sentence as my object, and I am using the method called split. That what it will do, it will split the sentence into 5 words, right? And how the splitting is done? Based on space. Yes or no? So that means I got all 5 words. Then after that, what I have done, I have said print word. And when I say that thing, I can see that it has been what the print has been done. This example has 5 words. So all the words are split from the sentence, and they have been stored into a list called words. because this is actually now a list. This word contains 5 data, yes or no? These words contain 5 data. This example has 5 words. So there are five words are there in that particular variable called words. And so that's why it is actually a list for me. Okay. Then what I'm doing, I put my index position as 0. That means the first position of the list actually you know that 0. Then what I'm saying, I'm using a while loop. If you have remember the while loop, actually while loop is the same as for loop, but the condition is in this way. As long as the index, guys, listen to me. I can still hear from this corner, please concentrate over here. Otherwise you'll not understand, believe me. Okay, as long as the index is less than the length of the word, I know that the length of the word is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yes or no? As long as my index is less than the length of the word, which is 0 is less than 5, which is true, what I'm going to do, go to that index position. That means words. In this case, what will happen? It will be 0. Yes or no? The first position is what? 0 equals to words 0 dot upper. So what it is doing? It is going to the index position of that word, which is 0 position, and then it is converting that position into a value into an upper. So this has converted to a upper this. Clear? Understood? Now index equals to index plus 1. You know that index plus 1 equals to 1. That means index equals to index plus 1. These and these are same thing. Index equals to index plus 1. So now the index will be now what? 1. Again the loop will go. Yes or no? Again word now to be 1. The index will be 1. So this means this position they're talking about equals to worst index. So that means the position number 1 dot upper. So that position has been converted. The first, the one position of the word has been converted from lowercase to an uppercase, which is example, right? Again, index equals to index plus 1, which is now its index is 2. So in this way, 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. All of them will be done because all of them are below 5. Yes or no? All of them are below 5, so it will keep on going. Once it goes to the 5, that means the last word of the word list has been already converted into uppercase. Yes or no? Then after that, what will happen? The index will be now 5. Once the index will be 5, this statement is true or false at that time? False. 5 is not less than 5, right? So that time 5 is not less than 5. So you know that. And that time the whole will terminate and it will come out. And once it comes out, what is the final sentence? Print words. So it will print all the uppercase word that we have. So this example has 5 words converted into an uppercase. Clear, guys? Yes. Understood? Yes, sir. If you don't understand after this, there's no way I can understand, make you understand. So, but concentrate. That is important. Concentration is very important. Now let's do another one. We are creating another list which is called a list. Just give me a second. Okay, so this is actually another list which is called a list, and it contains 3 values: 34, 45, and 67. So I've created a list, and I am saying I'm looking for a target called 45. I want to see whether the 45 exists in that list or not. I can see it is there, but I want the program to also find out that whether the 45 exists in that list or not, and in which location it is there. Okay, so what I'm doing, I have just used. You can see that this is such an important, powerful language. A list is itself is a whole one list, right? So it is pushing the whole list into a one variable. So automatically, this is working as a for loop for me because it is checking first value, second value, third value. In that way, it is checking, right? So what is that? This is 45. This is 45, and it will check the first value of the A list. If 45 in this A list, no. If 45 in this A list, 45 yes. That is what it will do. It will print that particular index of the target. So what it is saying? Print the list, which is the list of that dot. This is another new method called index of which one? The target. The target of which one was that? 45. So it will print value 1 for me. Otherwise, else it will print -1. So just see in this way what I have done. I have taken each and every, all the value of the list has been checked with the target value, And once that we got the target value, it automatically gives me the position. Now from here, I learned one thing. You can put any list like this. Okay, this is actually an object, and a method can be something like index target. So this is a new method. So index is actually a method that gives me the position of the particular target that you're looking for. Yes or no? Yes. So this is actually a new function that you learn here. So if I ask you that I have got a list of 100 samples and I want to see where number 77 lies. Okay, what is the position of 77 in that sample? It's a random sample. So you can easily do that thing by one single line like this, finding out the index of that particular target. So this is actually a very important function that gives me the target, the position of that particular target, and this if loop actually is allowing me to look for that particular target in the list itself. So that's what it's called, if target in the list. And if it exists, it will say yes, otherwise it will print -1. For example, if my target was suppose 100, then what will be the result? That will be -1. Clear, guys? Yes, sir. Straightforward, right? Let's continue further. Not this one, let's go here. So from there, I understood there are a number of operations that you can do. Now, all these things will come to you slowly and slowly once you start practicing. So I have showed you that with that list, what you can do, you can also append. Remember last time we have done the appending, so we add value to the list. So l.append any element, any variable, like x can be 5, 10, 15, automatically it will value that to the list. You can extend the list by using extend a list. That means suppose you have got a list, suppose 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you want to say l.extend a list, and you suppose your a list is 5 and 6, for example. If a list is 5 and 6, for example, it will automatically extend that one. It will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So you can extend that if you want to. Anyway, these operations will be there in the PDF code as well. I'll show you. But this is how we do extend. Insert, you can insert any element to the index position of the list. So I want to insert, suppose 10 in the third position of the list. I can do that. Pop, it actually pops the last element or the top element of the list that you can do. Pop index, it can also pop. Pop is what? It actually pops out. It actually takes out the value from the list itself. If I say l.pop index, it will pop that particular value where the index position is there. If I say l.pop 3, so it will pop the third position of the list, that value will be popped out. Yes or no? Yes. So this is based on index. And this one is by default l.pop. It means it will always pop the last element of the list. Like a sort of queue. Think about this way. I mean, these are number of stack, right? So this is the last element will be popped out from the list. Anyway, I'll show you that thing in the code as well. So there are a number of operations that you can do using the list file as well. And these are all important operations that you can manipulate, that can use to manipulate the list. Here it is, the coding here it is, for example. Think about this. I have created a list called example 1 and 2. So that means my list is only has got two values, 1 and 2. Then I'm saying print example, I got 1 and 2. Then I'm saying example.insert, I want to insert a value. In which position? The first position. Because this is 1, this is 2, this is 0 position, this is 1 position, right? So I want to put a position called, I want to put 10 in the first position over here. That means automatically this will be shifted on my right because I'm going to insert, right? I'm not actually deleting that one, I'm just inserting that value. So that particular 10 will be inserted in the first position and the 2 will be shifted to the right. Clear? So it was initially 1 and 2. Now said I want to push 10 over here. Okay, so that the 10 will be here and the 2 will give the space and 2 will move to the right. So it's now 1, 10, and 2. So that means I am inserting the value of 10 in the position 1 of my list. Okay. Similarly, I'm saying example.insert 3.25. Now I know that this is 0, this is 1, this is 2. That means there is no 3 position. So that means it will create a new position called 3, which is the last position, and it will put the value as 25. So now this is 0, 1, 2, and 3. Clear, guys? So I'm putting that one as well. So just see how effective it is just to use the insert position and the index. Using the insert, you can put any value in the list based on the index position. All these things are very, very important because this will help you to do success to have a, what is it called, to successfully complete the final exam. Your final exam will be all these type of things, okay? And if you don't know how to play with these numbers, it will be very hard. Okay, so just keep on practicing. Then another one, and they're very easy actually. If you just practice, it is very easy. And as I told you, that your final exam is actually an open book exam, so you don't have to memorize the code, but you have to know actually which code should be used where to solve the problem. That is important. Okay. Then I have another one. Example goes to 1 and 2. So this is another list. I'm saying example.append 10. So that means I'm going to append. That means I'm going to add a new value 10 to the list called example. So now 1, 2, 10 is the last position because the new value that come. Then I'm saying, can you? I am not going to append only one value. I can also append a whole list itself. So which is called extend. Remember the extend one? So I can extend my list with a new list itself. So example.extend 11, 12, and 13. It will automatically extend my initial list, which is 1, 2, and 10 by 11, 12, and 13. So that means my list has been extended with a new value. So it's called 1, 2, 1, 2, 10, 11, 12, and 13. Then I'm saying example.pop. As you can see, this is my last element of the list. What it will do? It will pop out that particular value. So that means that 13 has been popped out. That means this has been deleted from the list. Then I'm saying just if I say example, then it will print 1, 2, 10, 11, and 12. So 13 is not there anymore in the list. Yes or no? It has been popped. Then I'm saying example.pop 0. So that means I'm going to pop the first position of the list. So it will pop this one. So the ultimately it will be end with 2, 10, 11, and 12. Right? So these are some of the important operations that we are doing: inserting, extending, popping. Okay, all these things are doing, and finding the value in the list also. These are very, very important and work. And these are things that are important because you need to work with big data in the future as well. So please practice those things. These are the building blocks. Once you get this thing ready, you can solve any complex codes. Okay, and usually we don't write codes from scratch. What we do, we write codes from building. We build codes from the existing code itself. Right? That is how it works. Okay. Now again, refer to PDF code. Let's go to the PDF code again. I think it is not there. Okay, I will come to this one once I finish a little bit more things. Let's continue. Okay. Now the tuple. I also mentioned about the tuple. Tuple is actually same as list, but tuple is immutable. You cannot actually change the data of the tuple, right? So that's what is called a write protected data. When you define any sort of data with tuple, that means you cannot change the data. It is only for read purposes, but you cannot actually change the data. You cannot change the data of the tuple itself. That's why it's immutable. For example, tuple is actually represented by this way, by using a fast bracket. That is actually tuple. So remember last time I showed you, fruits is actually a tuple. It contains two data, two string data, apple and banana. Apple and banana is there. Meats, fish and poultry is there. Food equals to meats plus, if I say total meats plus fruits, yes, meats is actually fish and poultry, and fruits are apple and banana. So the food is actually whole fish, poultry, apple, banana. So Python is so user friendly. We are just adding these two tuples together just by giving plus. Okay. When I'm saying that thing, they're not adding apple plus fish is nothing. Can you say apple plus fish is what? Nothing, right? So what they're doing? They know that these are tuple, these are string data. So they're not going to add them. Rather, they're going to concatenate them, right? So apple, fish, then what is that? Banana and poultry, something. All these things will be concatenated into one single list. Similarly, another thing you see, I have created a list called wages. It's a wages. The name of the list is called wages, and the wages contains two type of data. One is called salary and one is called beans. What I have done, I have just converted that thing to tuple. So by using that command called tuple, you can convert any list variable to a tuple itself. So when I say tuple wages, it converts this thing into a tuple now. With this particular wages, you could have changed the data. Okay, you can replace the data, you can insert, you can pop, but when it comes to tuple, you cannot change or replace the data. That is the difference between a tuple and a list. The use of tuple will come to us slowly, But let's finish the list, dictionaries and functions, and then after that we'll go to the list thing as well. So far, this is my first part. Have you understood me? Clear, guys? This side? How about this, guys? On this side? Very good. And then let me see my online students. Have you understood so far what I have said? Good. Very good. Very good. Let me stop the recording and start a new recording again.